Hey guys, and welcome back to the Aether Hub. I'm Simon again, bringing you more Magic the Gathering lore. Today we'll be looking at another saga debuting with Dominaria. Again, sagas are cards bursting with flavor and history, telling unique tales of Dominaria's past. Stories we'll be revisiting in these videos. Today we take a look at the Eldest Reborn, and no, you're not seeing things, that's indeed Nicol Bolas featured on the art. He is the eldest of the Elder Dragons after all. But why was he ever reborn? Was he even killed in the first place? Well, to find out, let's examine the saga of Bolas on Dominaria. To answer your first question, yes, Bolas has been to Dominaria and is quite familiar with the plane itself. But let's start back a little further, the very beginning. You've heard me discuss the Elder Dragon War in previous videos, but as a recap, it was one of the first major events in MTG's long history. The whole multiverse wrapped up in a gigantic civil war between all-powerful godlike Elder Dragons. The victor of that war? Bolas, of course. And this was before he became a Planeswalker. After his spark ignited, he traveled to the then young plane of Dominaria. Yeah, he's that old, guys. There he fought another weird planeswalker, a giant, demonic, planeswalking leviathan. This was the duel of the century. The first fight between planeswalkers. Huge monster planeswalkers, no less. As this was before the mending and nerfing of planeswalkers, these heavyweights really shook Dominaria to its core. Their blows ripping apart time and space alike. Quite literally. Bolas would emerge victorious, turning his foes' remains into a prize known as the Talon Gates, the arching structure featured at the bottom of the Eldest Reborn's artwork. But the biggest takeaway from this fight, which occurred on and almost broke the shoreline of Madara, is that it created the first ever Temporal Rift above Dominaria. These time rifts would come to plague the plane and the multiverse as one disaster after another occurred there. Eventually, they would grow unstable and threaten the multiverse as a whole, but for now, Nicol Bolas cherished his victory. So Bolas left his mark on Dominaria and then left to do other Bolas things, eventually coming back to impose a more permanent rule. Unfortunately, the time rift he left changed the way his physical body could impact Dominaria. His essence had grown too heavy, manipulated by the rift, and his very appearance on the world could shatter it, and it's kinda hard to rule over bits and pieces. The only way he could reach Dominaria is if he tied himself to a mana leyline with enough red, black, and blue mana to keep his power balanced. Luckily, such a line ran through Madara, where he swooped in, killed the reigning empress, and made himself the God Emperor. God Emperor in Dominaria, God Pharaoh on Amonkhet. Bolas certainly likes his titles. Anyway, Bolas ruled from his imperial shrine, unable to leave as his physical body had been tethered to Madara. This rule went on for about 400 years. Sure, the people didn't like his tyrannical rule, but really, who's gonna stop him? Well, there was one brave enough to step forward, a former member of his Imperial Guard, his champion, a man named Tetsuo Umezawa. Tetsuo bravely fought the forces of Bolas, looking to end his reign, but no matter how many victories he scored against his minions, Bolas himself could never be defeated, especially not by a mere mortal warrior. Tetsuo needed to think outside the box, and that involved thinking outside of Dominaria. Sort of. Tetsuo would bait the Dragon Planeswalker into the Meditation Realm, a pocket plane of existence tied to and only accessible through Dominaria. It's a place only skilled mages and the leaders of Madara, through history, know how to get to, and luckily those were the players involved in this fight. Bolas was furious at his former champion and wanted to teach him a lesson, personally, but was unable to leave thanks to his tether. Tetsuo used his fervent anger to get him to the Meditation Realm, Bolas splitting his soul from his physical body in order to enter this plane of only magic and spirit. Bolas had very little knowledge of the Meditation Realm at this point, and had no idea just what a disadvantage he put himself in. Bolas figured he would just crush Tetsuo, a mere man, without the use of his body, with his powerful spells alone. But this was a trap. Tetsuo had ensured that when Bolas' spirit left his body to enter the Meditation Realm, that his Meteor Hammer spell would crush his Imperial Shrine, with his body still in it, technically killing the Planeswalker. Without a body to retreat to, Bolas could no longer planeswalk or leave the meditation realm, where he was pretty much just a ghost with no physical form. Also, his body was tied to the ley lines that were fueling the dragon's spells, meaning he was effectively neutered of his magic in the process. With no strength, magic, or planeswalker abilities, Tetsuo Umezawa killed Nicol Bolas. So that answers another important question. Has Bolas ever been killed? Apparently, yes. This was effectively the end of Bolas, but of course, being a major baddie, he wasn't out for the count just yet. His essence still existed in the Temporal Rift he had created above Madara thousands of years ago. And that leads us to the saga discussed in this video, the Eldest Reborn. As time passed and the temporal rifts grew and destabilized, Bolas was given enough leeway to return to Dominaria, but not as a dragon, more of a shade. And he really couldn't do much of anything. There was one thing Bolas could do though, something he's really good at, and that's manipulating people into doing what he wants. And boy did he do that here in a big way. He sensed and searched for a number of planeswalkers of Dominaria, namely Teferi, who was out trying to fix the time rifts with two companions who had latent, mutated planeswalker sparks. Sparks Bolas showed great interest in. Teferi and his gang accidentally got themselves stuck in various rifts before Venser, one of Teferi's aspiring planeswalkers, dropped down on the Madaran shoreline. Bolas came to Venser and his friends under the guise of Sensei Ryu, looking to help them in their journey. Unbeknownst to them, Bolas had already taken over the mind of Venser, and used this control over the young man's will and latent planeswalker spark to complete his mission. As time rippled around them, the spark of Venser was used to pull a copy of Bolas's body from a point in time before it was destroyed, expelling the spark to merge his shady presence with the body, becoming whole once more. There on the beach, Bolas looked to quote-unquote reward those who helped him in his rebirth, and we all know what rewards from Bolas can look like. Luckily for the band, Teferi had arrived to protect them by sacrificing himself. Teferi challenged the dragon to a planeswalker duel, and well, it wasn't pretty. Teferi's spells did nothing, and Bolas KO'd him with ease, ripping apart his body and mind, and getting ready to kill the planeswalker. Teferi was only spared as he explained to Bolas the nature of the temporal rifts on Dominaria, how their destable nature looked to bring the entire multiverse to an end. As a shade, Bolas was unaware, taken aback by this news, and not wanting to see himself disappear with the rest of the multiverse, Bolas let Teferi and the others go free, to let them attempt their little rescue plan to save the multiverse. After all, it was just good business, and the Dragon Planeswalker left Dominaria. Bolas would later return to Dominaria to seal the rift he had once created above Madara, finally ending his cycle on the plane. Bolas ensured the heroes that this was out of his own interest to survive, and in fact, he had already secured a way for him to live on past the extinction of the multiverse, such as it would be, with nothing to rule over. And oh, after being reborn, what was Bolas's opinion on the man who killed him? Well, the dragon swore to end every single member of the Umezawa family line, and all those who ever even came in contact with that family. This was, of course, but a side mission in his greater scheme. But we do have new members of the Umezawa clan joining us on Dominaria. We don't know how this could impact the story of the set or of MTG as a whole, but Tetsuo Umezawa, I know you're a fugitive. I just wanted to let you know Bolas has a pretty dire warning for you. And that, you guys, is the saga of Bolas's rebirth on Dominaria, the Eldest Reborn. Maybe Bolas will make an appearance on Dominaria, or perhaps he'll just be the catalyst that brings heroes like Teferi and Ajani back into the fight against him. Either way, on Dominaria, he was ended, and on Dominaria, he returned. Maybe it's time he returned again, if not for anything else but to end the life of another Umezawa. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a like, sub to the channel, and of course, share it across the multiverse. Remember, you can also join the Vorthos army through our Patreon and get cool signed loot from me, and get your name to appear at the end of each of my videos. If that sounds interesting, make sure you check that link out in the description below. As always, guys, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time here on the Aether Hub.